Lisa Breame, Dementia Training for the Norfolk and Suffolk Foundation Trust, as it rolls off my tongue. I'm a mental health nurse by trade, and we're seeing it. I want to beat her. I'm on my 30th year of working with people with dementia, and what I have to say, it's been a 30-year privilege of meeting people and with dementia and their carers at a time in their lives which is really, really difficult, and they've welcomed me into their lives. I suppose for the last 5 years I've become a trainer, so I meet professional carers across the board, so it could be doctors, nurses, occupational therapists, anyone and everyone, people in care homes, and also family member carers as well, and many, many people, anyone with an interest in dementia. And again, I suppose I hold myself up. I sometimes don't feel qualified, because the people who are qualified and experts are the people living with dementia and their loved ones. So I've been given this slot just because I do a lot of training on behavioural problems. So we're going to, I want this to be interactive. I'm a trainer, I'm not a speaker, so I really need you to be interactive. Can you tell me any behavioural problems with people with dementia?
Emotional.
Emotional, yeah.
Angry.
Angry.
Confused.
Confused.
Frustrated.
Frustrated.
Get drunk.
Sorry, get drunk. He had to do it, didn't he? He had to heckle me.
Like able to switch the cooker off.
Yes, yeah. Forgetting.
Forget to lock the door.
Cooker, door.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wandering.
Controlling.
Sorry?
Controlling.
Controlling.
Happy.
Happy. Who said that? Wow, thank you. Happy.
Saying things that may not be true.
Right, so yeah, I'm not going to put it as lies, but if I put it as lies, it's easier to write, but I didn't mean it like that. Yeah.
Accusing.
Sorry? Accusing. I'm going to put one of my own up there. Aggressive. Right, so I'm going to look at two points, because myself as a trainer, I have to think about the 2 points. People, professional carers that go home at the end of the day and escape some of the pressures of some of these things that you've put down here. They can escape, they can find their own ways of coping. Zena talked about 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So there's a difference in family carers. So I really don't want to offend anyone this afternoon in what I'm going to talk about, because we have to, before we even talk about the behavioural problems, there's no magic wand. And we all want the magic wand. We all want a pill that will help or take away that behavioural problem. The reason I put down aggressive, first, I want to get this message out to everyone, and every training session that I go in, we hear a misperception that people say, the general public, usually because they don't know, that people with dementia are aggressive, and it's a symptom of dementia. We know it's not a symptom of dementia. It's not because the neurodegenerative, what is happening in the brain, aggression is not that. If I kick the chair, I always do this, no one's hurt my foot, sorry. So if I kick the chair, why might I kick the chair?
Did you felt like it?
Frustrated? Yeah, I felt like it actually, yeah. What other reasons? It's in the way, actually, yeah, because I can't actually do, I'm not very good at coordinating. There's many, many reasons, but often that label will get stuck. So if you saw me today and I kept kicking that chair, kicking it all around, you might label me as Lisa is aggressive, and that will stick. Wherever I go in my care environment, wherever, if I happen to go to our local acute hospital for a fractured hip, that aggression word will be with me. And how will people approach me? Yeah, or they'll come in twos. They'll actually come in twos. And actually, all I was doing it was probably because I was frustrated. It was probably because of many, many reasons. So I want us to get this people with dementia are not aggressive. So what are the reasons why they're aggressive? We said frustration. What other reasons? And actually, I don't even want to use the word aggressive. Where am I going with that? Because it doesn't describe anything. My perception of aggression is completely different to Claire's in front of me. And so if I punch someone, why might I punch someone?
You could be a stranger in their home. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. So I don't recognise why they're there and why should they be there. What other reasons?
You might not like them.
Yeah, I might not like them. Who said that? Yes, 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 absolutely. And I might have lost that reason, and and I might feel very frustrated about it. What other reasons? There's one huge one. Yeah, and absolutely. Who said fear? Fear, absolutely. And I could be pretty angry and frustrated. But fear is most of the reasons why people hit out. But not forgetting family carers. Because if your loved one, you've been married to them for 50 years, suddenly start punching you when you try to help them in the toilet because they're finding the toilet difficult, that's difficult, isn't it? It's no good me come along as a professional saying they're doing it because they're fearful and angry. Because you're just going to say, but I've got to live with it. So what can we do? What can we do? You tell me. Family carers, we've had Zena talk about the support that is out there, but when I come along and say it's because they're feeling frustrated and fearful, what would help? You tell me.
Take their hand and just try and talk to them, try and bring them out of that, what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right, brilliant. So let's talk about what we can do, because I think Danuta introduced us this morning about what we can do, and she talked very much about Tom Kitwood's work, person-centred care, well researched. It's, and we're saying that the future is about person-centred care, and it is about enriching people's lives, getting them doing what they want to do, and relationships. It's as simple as that. And again, no disrespect for family carers, because that can be really difficult as well. So what do I mean when I say about enriching experiences? What do I mean? And doing things that, you want to do.
Explaining what you're doing.
So explaining, yeah. Sometimes verbally it's really difficult, isn't it? If you can't understand. Yep. Right, yeah. So if I like to go out for a walk every day and I constantly get lost, it's about finding alternatives, isn't it? I've got to go out every day, because if you take that away from me, I will be angry, I will be frustrated, I will hit out, because I need to be doing that. So it's thinking those simple creative things that we sometimes forget if we're in the mire of it, if you're stuck in the living experience of it, or you're just living with someone 24 hours a day that is constantly, as a lady said over there, controlling and accusing. It's very easy to say the reasons why they're doing it, but it's hard to come up with the solutions. But the solutions are there, but we've got to be the detectives in some way. You hear it bandied around, that word, dementia detectives. And it is about thinking about the person as a whole. So I take you back to Danuta's enriched model. If we know as much as we can about the person, we can usually find the solution. So if we find that the person, going back to some of these other things, getting drunk, I'm not going to forgive you for that, Cliff. So, forgetting to switch the cooker off. If we find out what is going on in all these components in that person's life, it may be that we find, yes, it is about the neurological, because they can't remember for that moment in time. So what simplistic thing can we put on? It could be that you have a detector that will just switch it off, so the person's able to still use a cooker. Because if we take that cooker away from them, they're going to get even more frustrated and angry, aren't they? That's something that they've always done and they wanted to continue doing. So we're getting cleverer, but we've got a long, long way to go to enable people to do whatever they want to do. So going back to the behavioural problems, thinking about what support there is out there. Now, Zena talked a lot about what support is available, and we said it's really hard to find out. And often, if it's something like GP, I'm working with the GPs at the moment, and often they'll go out and they will give a tablet, because that's what people want. So we're the ones that need to change the thinking, and we're the ones that need to change and come up with these easy, creative ways of working, because it's well researched, it's out there. We just need to enable people. Are there any more behavioural problems you want to put on there? Because I've sort of started it and then carried on. What other things you really find difficult? Disinhibition. Oh, you've got me on one now. I can't spell it. Okay, another myth I want to get out there as well. We talk about sexual disinhibition. I can't say it now. Sexually disinhibited. Another word that really I try to work hard with care workers to stop using in a way. Because if I undressed here today, well, why might? Don't worry, I'm not going to. Why might I undress? Hot, yeah. Yeah, I feel uncomfortable, yeah. Actually, I might think this is my bedroom. I don't notice all you here, I'm getting ready for bed. Now, unfortunately, lots of those things get labelled as sexually disinhibited, and often there's a simple reason behind it. Research says that it's only 2% of people with dementia are sexually disinhibited, and it's usually because there's some damage to the frontal lobe. So it's 2%. But we can't disrespect, again, family carers, because it can be really difficult. If your loved one undresses in the supermarket, or I don't know why I make reference to men, but if they pull out something they shouldn't pull out in public, that they may be just looking for the toilet. But as a family member, that is really, really difficult, isn't it? So I can come along as a carer and say, have you tried making sure that, there's a bucket around, or that you make reference to the toilet, or you put up some pictures, or you constantly encourage them to the toilet. As a family member, you've got to live that, haven't you? And sometimes you're going to shout and scream. Also, that consideration, I would come along as a trainer and say, think of yourself, but we shouldn't really be trying not to confront people with dementia. They're trying their damnedest to live this life. But again, for family carers, you might have had a relationship with them for 50 years, and when they call you I nearly said it. Nearly had Tourette's. When they call you a really derogatory term, that is really difficult to take, isn't it? It's really difficult to think, oh, they're doing that out of complete frustration. Where I can say that as a professional carer, because I could go home and that doesn't emotionally affect me. Okay, so I said I want to make this interactive. So going back to there's no magic wand, but I suppose, again, we need to think about some old wording, because I'd love to see this word taken out of dementia care, wandering. Because what does wandering conjure up? Yeah, so walking with no purpose, that's what it conjures up. Everyone's got a purpose, haven't they? Everyone, all of us sitting in this room. Well, I don't walk across here, I'm not making it very difficult for the cameraman, but I'm not doing it aimlessly. I'm doing it probably because I'm a bit nervous. So, sorry, I am making it hard for you. So we're the ones that need to find out why that person is perhaps leaving their house at 4 in the morning in their night attire. So there's a reason behind it, isn't it? And what could that reason be? Yeah, going home. They don't recognise home as home, so they're going home. What else might? Sorry? Going to work, did someone say? Yeah. Absolutely. Or if they live on their own, they're just looking for a friendly face. So, and this is often the reason why people end up in care. But how, again, simplistic, creative things can perhaps ease this. Go back to the Swifts. Have they gone it yet? They said it sometimes is just a hug, just someone being there, or making sure there's support in the middle of the night if that person needs it. Or if not, put an alarm system on so when they do walk out the door that people can be alerted and hopefully a member of the family can come along. I know that's a big ask of a member of the family, and come along and bring them back or find out what they are looking for. But it's going back to these simple things. So. And I've got to tell you one story about a gentleman recently, well, not recently, as a community nurse, I went to see this gentleman with dementia, and he, oh, I've got to say, he had an awful wife. Oh, she was such a nag. She was awful to say, but he had a strategy of every day, every afternoon, he'd say, I'm going for a pint, because I just can't take her anymore. Go for a pint, down the city, come back. That was his strategy. Now, he got put, I'd say put into respite for a week, into a care home, because his wife was really worn out. No one spoke to me as a community nurse, because I would have said, he's not a wanderer, because that label sticks. He's a chap who, like, when he's stressed, he likes to leave and find a pub and wherever. He was put out in the countryside in a care home. You can imagine, so he agreed to it. 1 hour later, he thought, oh, well, I don't know where I am, I'm off home. Unfortunately, he was in the middle of nowhere, and unfortunately, he got hit by a car and killed. And he was heading back to Norwich. I believe, to this day, if that man had been put in a respite place in Norwich, he just would have headed home, or he'd headed to the pub. He'd gone to the Bell, if anyone knows the Bell. So, but he got this label of wandering, and in the coroner's court, it got slated. And quite rightly so, because he had a purpose, he had an intention, and it was a catalogue of disasters, really. But so we really need to think about some more labels that we put onto people. Okay, what others on there? So, often people, I did say about sexually disinhibited, didn't I? Yeah. And again, I suppose I often say to professional carers, describe what you see. Try not to put these labels on, because if you get labelled as sexually disinhibited, you're a lady, you'll probably not have men come and care for you, but it may be that you're homosexual. It may be there's many, or things will go against you if you have a label. Okay. Right, I'm going to, going back to there, most of this is negative, so behavioural problems, and someone said happy, and I've got to explore that. So, is it a behavioural problem, someone being happy?
Maybe fear it's in a tough situation, so a funeral, for example.
Absolutely, yeah, really good point. So it could be, yeah, their happiness is really exuberance when perhaps that wouldn't be quite right. Yeah. Absolutely. And that goes back to Zena's point about this. We as a society, we're the ones that need to change, because the person with dementia can't. They're struggling with life as a thing, and as a whole. And we know the government is really pushing this, dementia-friendly communities, dementia champions and friends, so that we all have an understanding of what it's about and take away some of these awful myths that we've got about, going back to that people with dementia are aggressive, going back to people with dementia are mad. We're the ones that need to break down those labels and that stigma. So we all sit here in this room today, fantastic, we all know that, but we need to be out there spreading that message as well, and particularly I do believe to younger children, because younger children? Sorry, to children. So if we get out there and get the message to them, that's what we need to do. Okay, I rambled, I said I want to be interactive. Any questions? Because I must admit, I didn't really plan this, because I think it's really difficult to plan when you've got all these things. So I don't know where I was going really with that. I'll be truly honest. But from what we talked about, or rabbited on this afternoon, are there any questions? Go on, be brave, someone. I hate tumbleweed moments.
What worries you are being happy or what?
It's good enough. That's not a behavioural problem, is it? Unless you are, yeah. But going back to Louisa's point, if I can imagine Jean saying, "Oh God, Cliff, you're just so cheerful, aren't you?" Again, it can be an issue for people, but there's support out there, and it can be those simple things, creative things. How do people... Yeah, go on.
I just wanted to say that everything seems to be exaggerated. You know, little foibles in their personality become exaggerated.
Absolutely, yeah. And going back to Kitwood's, personality is a way we cope with things. If you think about your personality, I'd say I'm a sociable person, but if I'm under stress, I shut down. Don't want to speak to anyone. So it's about knowing about their personalities, the way they cope, because it'll go to extremes. You know, so if you've always been an extrovert, yes, you'll probably be even more of an extrovert because you're coping with it, with what you're coping. So people talk about personality changes in dementia. I often think, and this is my theory, you can argue with it, it's just that they're under incredible stress 24 hours a day, so your personality will be exaggerated or go the opposite in a way. Any more questions? I've got 4 minutes.
Go.
Ah, thank you, Archie. You had enough, have you?